Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're tackling something pretty wild, pretty mysterious. I'm talking about near-death experiences.
Ah, NDEs. They really do capture the imagination, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about those stories, right? People who've been close to death, maybe even clinically dead for a bit, and come back with these incredible tales.
Bright lights, out-of-body sensations, feeling overwhelming peace. It's enough to make anyone wonder, what's really going on?
Exactly. So, for those who might be new to this whole NDE thing, can we break down what we mean by those common experiences? What kind of hallmarks are we looking for?
You bet. I mean, one of the most frequent things you hear is that out-of-body sensation.
Oh, yeah, like you're floating above yourself, looking down at the scene.
Spot on. And they often describe witnessing things like medical procedures that they couldn't have seen from their actual position.
Okay, that'd freak me out.
Right. Then there's that whole tunnel thing. A lot of people describe this journey through a tunnel, usually heading towards a very bright light.
Yeah, that's the classic imagery, isn't it? But it's not just visual, right? People report feeling incredible peace, love, sometimes even meeting deceased loved ones.
Absolutely. And what's striking is that these elements, they show up in accounts from all over the world, all throughout history.
So it's not just a Western thing or a modern thing.
Not at all. Ancient cultures, different religions, it seems like no matter where or when you look, the fundamental parts of NDEs are pretty consistent.
Wow, so we're not just dealing with a random jumble of hallucinations then.
Seems that way. Which brings us to the, shall we say, million-dollar question. How does science even begin to make sense of all this?
Right. Is it just a brain, doing a last-minute freak out before it shuts down?
Well, researchers have been looking into that for a while now. There are definitely some physiological changes that happen when we're close to death, like oxygen levels dropping, endorphin release going up.
Ah, so the body's own chemicals could be playing tricks on us.
Could be part of it. And there's often unusual activity in the temporal lobe of the brain, the part dealing with memory and senses.
So maybe instead of a peaceful white light, it's just our neurons firing off like crazy.
That's one theory. But here's the thing. There are cases where people report details from their NDE that they couldn't have possibly known otherwise.
Oh, like what?
There was this one study, a woman described a specific shoe on the hospital roof. She wouldn't have been able to see it from her room, but when they checked, it was there.
Hold on. So if it's not just a brain glitch, are we saying consciousness could exist separately from the body?
Now we're getting into the deep end.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's a question a lot of people have. Some even think consciousness might not be just a product of our brains, but like fundamental to the universe itself.
Whoa, hold up. That's getting a little too cosmic for me. And I got to be honest, physics is not my strong suit.
Fair enough. But there are some ideas in quantum physics that kind of support this view, like quantum entanglement. Ever heard of it?
Vaguely. It's like two particles, no matter how far apart, are connected.
Yeah, they're linked so that whatever happens to one instantly affects the other. Some researchers think this kind of interconnectedness might apply to consciousness too.
So it's not just stuck in our heads, but out there in the universe somehow.
Exactly. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a minute. How do NDEs actually change people?
Good point. It can't just be about weird lights and out-of-body trips, right?
Right. Well, one big thing is people often report feeling much less afraid of death afterwards.
Makes sense. Like you kind of peek behind the curtain and realize it might not be so scary.
Yeah, like a facing your fears kind of thing. And many also feel a surge in compassion, like this deep sense of connection to everything.
So less me-focused, more we-focused.
Exactly. Like they see the bigger picture and they want to live more genuinely, more authentically.
Man, I bet we could all use a bit of that perspective shift, even without having to, almost die.
Ha, that's the ideal, right? But it's interesting, while the core NDE stuff seems universal, how people interpret it, that varies a lot.
Because of their background, you mean? Like religion, culture.
Yep. That bright light. Someone from a Christian background might see it as God, while someone from a Hindi background might see a deity like Yama.
So same experience, but we filter it through our existing beliefs. Makes sense. But hey, not everyone buys into this right now. Gotta have some skeptics out there.
Oh, definitely. And they bring up some good points, like similar experiences can happen with certain drugs or under extreme stress.
So say it's all in our heads, just a fancy hallucination.
Pretty much. But it's hard to explain how some people, especially those who never even heard of NDEs before, can give such detailed, accurate accounts of things that happened while they were, out of commission.
Yeah. That's a tough one. So are we any closer to figuring out what's really going on with these near-death experiences?
Well, we've explored a lot today, haven't we? The science, the mysteries, how it changes people. We even dipped our toes into quantum physics.
We did go down a few rabbit holes there, but it feels like we're left with more questions than answers.
That's the nature of the beast, I suppose. Are NDEs a glimpse of an afterlife? Just a really weird brain thing. Something else entirely. Who knows?
The mystery continues. But one thing's for sure, it makes you think, doesn't it? About life, death, what it all means.
And I think that's a good place to leave it for our listeners. What do you think about all this?
Well, let us know. And until next time, keep exploring those big questions. It's what makes life interesting, right?
Couldn't agree more.
Catch you all later.